So hands down, a stronghold I've struggled with would be fear. And I didn't realize I struggled with this until probably in my early 30s. So I think one word before I started giving would be insecure, I think. Insecure about maybe an unforeseen bill popping up, insecure about an expensive car repair, XYZ. I was very, very, very insecure that I would not have the money ready just in case that random repair occurred, or just if I had that random ER visit. And it was scary, and especially being out on my own in my mid-20s. I mean, I was like, this is it, this is me. There's no safety net, I gotta figure this out. So I'm gonna save. Financial security meant to me before I started tithing, it meant how much money could I have saved. I honestly looked at, I idolized money as my protector instead of God being my protector, the creator of the universe being my protector. I used to idolize my career over God, and I didn't realize that till about 2 years ago, whenever I was at work randomly, and I was stressed out, I was tense, and my boss looked over to me, she said, Nathan, I think you put your value as a person, as a human being, in your job performance. And I was thinking about what she said, and maybe she didn't even realize what she was trying to say, but it was the truth. And I realized my value is based on my job performance as opposed to me being a child of God. And then after I mulled it over, I thought, I'm actually putting this career that I've worked so hard to achieve in front of God. And I think that might be an issue that I should probably work on. I've realized that about 2 years ago, and I'm still kind of working on defeating that idol. So this is whenever I began the long journey. After that brief conversation with my job, I went on this long journey to quit defining my value as a human being based on worldly accomplishments. Enough is enough. Quit defining your value based on your degree that you got, or that your career that you've got established, or the amount of money that you have saved in the bank. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the fact of the matter is that I'm a child of God, a God that loves us unconditionally. He doesn't care how much money you have saved. He doesn't care how many diplomas you have on the wall. He doesn't care your level of education. All he cares is that you have a heart for God. And so that's really what I'm kind of focusing on doing now, as opposed to defining my worth based on how much money I make now, or how much education I've attained. I didn't start giving consistently until I hit 25. I'm 34 now. But even then, before then, I was 19, and my pastor, he straight up just told the church about the book of Malachi. And he said, this is the one time that God says, test me and see that I do not open up the floodgates of heaven and pour it onto your life. If you just tithe, and tithe means give 10%. And I was 19. I'm not much of a procrastinator, but 5 years later, that sermon came back to my mind, and I said, Nathan, I got to start giving consistently. I got to start giving 10% to God. And that's really whenever it all began. I was 25 at the time. I was working a low-wage job. I was a nursing assistant, making around like $9 or $10 an hour. And so I did not make a lot of money, but at the same time, I made a commitment to just to go ahead and give my 10%, and let's see what God can do with it. So I used to lean on money to protect me, to keep me safe, to give me security. One of the things I realized was that even if I give 10%, God can do so much more with my 90% that I still have in my paycheck than I could ever do with my 100% if it was just me alone. So God is infinitely more intelligent than I am. He's infinitely more wise than I am, and He can make that 90% stretch a lot further than I'll ever be able to make that 100% stretch. It still hurts a little bit. I would love to stand up and say, oh yeah, I love tithing, I love doing this, I love being faithful, but in all reality, it still hurts whenever I give that 10%. I always think in the back of my head, if all this I've been giving, if I were just to invest that, how much more would I have? But at the same time, I know that money isn't the key to happiness. God's going to bless me in different ways. I look at God blessing me with a beautiful career I have in nursing right now. I look at that as a huge blessing, and also a good family with a good community so far in New York City. So what good adjective would I use to show that God's kind of changed my heart? I haven't accomplished this adjective yet, but I'm working on it. I'm far from perfect. I think it would be fearless. Leaning on God, the creator of the universe, who's been watching over me since I was an adult, since obviously before then. God and his guardian angels, they're right there. They know who the believers are, and they're currently watching over us, and that's what helps me walk towards fearlessness.